What's going on? So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, and yes, if you can't tell, I am a little under the weather, but that's fine. It won't stop me from doing this. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and install a Spoiler King spoiler on my car. It'll be a nice little addition here that will kind of complete an overall look of the car a little bit better, especially with the Z06s and the fixed roof coupes, mainly because the base model has the hatchback that goes kind of all the way to the back there, so it looks a little bit more shaped as far as that goes. But on this one, you're left with this big flat piece of area to work with. Adding a little bit of a wing that you can see right there will definitely help the overall look of the car, in my opinion. So we'll kind of get started on the process to go ahead and get this installed. Before we jump directly into installing the spoiler, it's actually very simple. All you're really going to need is a tape measure, and of course some masking tape just to kind of hold it in place if you don't have a friend or someone you can, kind of use to help you out. So that's all you really need. The adhesive on the spoiler is super strong, so you don't have to worry about it coming off. But yeah, that's it. But we'll go ahead and jump into it. So obviously what you're gonna wanna do first is kind of just clean the area. My car is a little bit wet because it did rain. So I'm gonna dry it off. That way I can at least have a nice and dry surface to work with here. And then we'll kind of prep the area a little bit more to go ahead and apply the spoiler here. Once you have the nice and dry surface, go ahead and basically prep the area using isopropyl alcohol. Make sure that when it sticks, it's very, very strong and adhesive, and you don't have to worry about it. And now, again, if you have your car ceramic coated, this isn't gonna work. You'll have to pretty much buff it down, kind of get rid of that ceramic coat where the spoiler is gonna go. Okay, so now that we've prepped everything, we'll go ahead and jump into measuring this rear bumper space for you and getting everything aligned in the center. So we'll go ahead and do that here, and then I'll show you my process of how to make it a little bit easier when lining up the actual spoiler. So as you can see here, I pretty much measured the fifth brake light in its entirety, and then measured about halfway, which I roughly got about 3 3/4 inches for this. And then I essentially just measured I got the dipped one. So I measured where this, goes up and gets flat, and then went into the middle of this. This is about 6 3/4 of an inch. That's pretty much what I did there to kind of line it up. It looks pretty good to me here. Regarding its, how centered it is. So I'm pretty happy with this. So really all we need to do now is essentially flip this on over. I'm pretty much gonna be cutting this 3M tape here and then leaving a flap of it out. So I'll kind of jump to what that looks like, and then we can get this fully installed. Okay, so here's pretty much what I did for the middle part here. This way, when I go to stick it down, this will be stuck to the bumper, and then I can just kind of pull these back and get that adhesive off and kind of do it hopefully in one clean peel, but we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here, and then I'll line up these 2 little lines right there, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so now that I've got it lined up pretty much where I want it, I kind of just pressed lightly in case I did need to move it, but now really all you're gonna wanna do is just kind of make sure that this gap right here stays consistent, and then you're gonna tape down one side of it with masking tape to kind of help you just keep it in place while you adjust the other side. I pretty much put just enough tape down to kind of hold it in place there. And then of course on this side, I'll be doing something similar. And then really the only other thing you're gonna wanna make sure you do is just keep this consistent. Like I've mentioned, I just kind of run my finger along here, make sure that I feel the same amount of car essentially the whole time. But yeah, and then we'll go ahead and get this peeled. Then I will adjust as I peel it to make sure it stays in the right spot. So here we are. It is completely installed. I think it looks pretty good if you ask me. Of course, you'll probably want to let it sit for just a little bit after installing it. I think for a cheap alternative that does not require any drilling, I think this personally looks amazing because you don't have to drill. I do plan on getting a wing to put on the trunk. That's where I will be drilling, but I didn't want to leave this blank in the meantime, so this is what I went with for now. No, it's a small detail, but it looks really, really nice this way. and then adds a nice little silhouette in the rear, as well as that side view here. There is one last step though. This is completely optional. You can technically leave it just like this for you, which will have that, you know, that kind of matte look to it. I'll be right back with the last step and we'll jump into it. So lastly, for that optional step, you're pretty much just gonna wanna take this bottle right here of the Meguiar's Supreme Shine. The Spoiler King themselves do recommend using this. It pretty much just gives this spoiler a lot more of a kind of like a semi-gloss type look. So really all you're gonna wanna do is just spray it down with this, and it'll look a little bit, you know, more semi-gloss than this like kind of matte finish that you have going on now. There you have it. Here it is, sprayed down with that Supreme Shine. Now, again, it's not a huge difference, but it kind of makes it look more semi-gloss and a little bit more richer of a black. Personally, I prefer the shine on it, but it's not that big of a difference, to each their own. But honestly, I think it looks awesome. Definitely worth the money in my opinion, and I've had plenty of people with these that, you know, they never come off or anything like that. As long as you prep the area and do all of that properly, you shouldn't have any issues with that, especially with it being 3M on the bottom. So yeah, I certainly hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to install a Spoiler King spoiler. Again, I think it looks great for, you know, what you're getting out of it. If you did like it, please go ahead and show some love on the video by liking, subscribing, and commenting. Again, my goal is to hit at least 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2024. So any and all support is much appreciated. Y'all have an excellent rest of your day.